Hey, welcome back to Buick V8 Motorsports. As promised, it's Buick Update Day. It's Friday, January. And so I'll take you around this front. Hey, welcome back to Buick V8 Motorsports. It's Buick Update Day. As promised, it is Friday, January 30th, the end of January already. Can you believe it? Anyway, I'm going to show you where this thing is at right now. Progress has been happening. It's a little bit slow. You saw the stuff that I bought recently. I'll talk to you a little bit about why I bought what I bought, what's it for, and all that. But let's take a look at this thing. So we got the front end pretty much back together. You saw the A-arms and all that are on it. I started bolting little trinkets on. There's the clutch cross shaft bracket. These brake line adapter things, the bracket, the factory bracket, and the factory brake line. Little cantankerous to get in there. This brake line, I'm sure, is probably from China, and this is a 1964 bracket. So it took a little bit of persuasion to get those two to mate up. But yeah, I got the brakes all bolted on. I do have the steering hooked up. I'm not gonna be able to really show you, but if you turn that, it turns the wheels. So got a wrench on there to remind myself that that stuff isn't tight yet, and I don't have all the cotter pins in it. But yeah, it's working good. It's looking good. I bought the new center link and painted everything else up and put it together. There was a kit, actually, George Burns sent me a kit from Summit that would have replaced everything. Everything else was functional, and so I just bought the center link, and it was the right one. It bolted on. It looks like it's going to work fine. I'm going to grease everything up. I still need to put the Zerks in the ends of the center link, but yeah, so that's going to be good. The steering should be fine once I get everything tightened down, buttoned down, cotter pins and all that. I bolted on the old gas pedal, that's important, and then started with the brake plumbing. And so this is a factory line and a factory bracket. Used to be a single master cylinder, so the back brakes used to hook right up to that. I'm going to plug that, and I'm going to have to plumb the back brakes individually up to the master cylinder, and a line lock. And so we got that right here. I went with the Biondo line lock, solid item. It's I've done Hurst or Biondo. They work fine. That's going to hold the front brakes so you can burn the back tires in the water box. So that's the plan. Got new snubbers for the front. The 1964 snubbers, yeah, they didn't make it through disassembly. Anyway, the Stop Shop provided those. I've never used their stuff before, so we'll see how it goes. The valve covers are going to get dash 12 bungs for breathing. This thing's going to be on E85, and I've found that you get condensation in there, and so you need a good breather system. So I'll get a couple of tanks. I'll have those welded in the valve covers, and it should be good to go. That's what I've got on the yellow car over there, and it works well for that. Some pretty cheap gas adjust KYBs for the front, so we're going to go with those. 1/2-inch aluminum fuel line. So starting to think about getting fuel to the front of this thing. I do have a new replacement gas tank I got from my buddy JP. And so eventually going to get under the back of this thing, get that gas tank installed, get the fuel line started. Went with the good stuff for Gola on the fittings for the fuel line. And so the plan is I'm going to run a mechanical fuel pump on the motor. Tell me what you think of that. If you got opinions, this thing's going to be on E85. They do make some pretty stout mechanical fuel pumps, and so you need a lot of fuel with the E85, and this thing, you know, 600 and some horsepower, it's going to need a fair amount of fuel. So I think that'll work. It won't be noisy like an electric fuel pump. I think that'll be good for the eventual drag and drive scenario. Got airbags for the back. It's a Buick thing. It's the poor man's anti-roll bar. You pump up the right rear airbag, and gives you some pressure there for the launches. The back of this thing is really spongy. It's got the stock rear springs, and so I'm going to put those airbags in there and air them up. We'll see how she does. I might end up needing springs. I'm sure I'm going to end up needing control arms anyway. So. And this was something I've wanted to do for a while. I've seen a couple of old Buicks with these on there. They put the amber lights in the high beams. $8 a piece for these. And I like the look. What is it? Wagner 4412A. So it's going to be cool. It's good, you know, it's a road car. So, and then Facebook Marketplace. So I needed some gauges for this thing. Actually went to a swap meet last weekend and couldn't find any. Went and picked these up and kind of had a surprise. This one had been underwater. And so I've never had one of these apart before, and it doesn't necessarily look that great. But yeah, you just pry the aluminum bezel off there carefully. And this thing was, I mean, it was rusty from the Autometer logo down, and cleaned it up. I dug the rust out of it, and hopefully it works. So it seemed like the needle assembly, you know, springs back like it should. You know, I'm gonna probably have to stick another oil pressure gauge on it just to make sure. I'm not gonna run this tack. This will probably end up at a swap meet sometime down the road. Water temp gauge looks good. So the theory is I'm gonna stick these gauges in the dash of this thing. Just show you really quick. There's a ton of room above the radio. And so the theory is drill a couple holes, put those gauges in, wire them, and we should be good to go. One other piece of the puzzle, just to mention really quick, is this Quick Fuel Technology E85 950 Holley. Got this from my buddy Brett. He ran this on his 55 back when it was in the high 10s on his big block. I think it's gonna work great for this small block. Another piece I got from my buddy JP is that Holley regulator. So I'm gonna stick that on there. Even with a mechanical fuel pump, you wanna know what pressure your carburetor is seeing. At least I think you do. So tell me if I'm wrong. Anyway, yeah, so we got another piece of the puzzle. So that is the plan, and that's the current status of the old Buick. The engine is at the machine shop. They do have to line hone the block, and it's so it's at Paolo Engine Service in Oregon City. And there's a special cut they have to do on the rear main seal to do the line hone. And so they're gonna do that actually at Ted King's shop. And so there's another machine shop that's gonna take the block, and they're gonna do the special line hone thing on the rear main seal, and then it'll go back to Paolo. Roy's working on it up there, and hopefully finish up the machining on the block, and he's gonna mock it up for me. Clearance the block if needed and all that good stuff, and it should be good to go. I'm gonna get it back with new cam bearings. I'm gonna get main bearings, freeze plugs, and it's already bored out, so that part's done and should be good to go. So looking forward to getting that stuff back, getting it assembled, and getting this thing running. So starting to kind of work towards some of the wiring, obviously the plumbing, but I wanna have the brakes and the steering all wrapped up before we stick that engine back in here. So we'll see how it all works out. Thanks for watching.